on, everybody? Hope everybody is having a great Thursday out there in ADOM Nation. Welcome to the ADOM Facebook page, and it is time for another featured company spotlight. Very, very excited to have two new friends with me here today from Enlive Dental. I've got Adrian Gillian and Tina Rooney. How you doing, guys?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks, John, for having us. We're
Hi,
excited.
John. Thank you for having us. Doing well. How about you?
Doing awesome. I'm doing great. So, I don't know if you guys all saw, but there was obviously a hurricane, and the weather's been crazy here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I got a little change of scenery. I got my fern back with me. If for whatever reason, guys, I lose my feed, the most important thing is that you get to hear from Tina and Adrian today. So we're going to have a little back and forth and learn some great things about their company. I was actually just going through some of the things that they do, and it is right up the alley, guys, of what the office managers and so many of the ADOM members, I think, can appreciate and value. So really excited. What I wanted to do, Adrian, if you want to go ahead and kind of kick things off before we get into some questions that I've put together for the both of you on what you guys do, and just talk a little bit about Enlive and what you guys focus on. We'll go ahead and get started there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John. Hey, guys, thank you very much. My name is Adrian. I'm with Enlive, head of sales. My colleague Tina, consultant out of Central Florida. And a little bit about Enlive. We really focus on that patient engagement, really getting information to a practice before their arrival. Paper today is just, it's just old school. It's frustrating. A lot of folks don't have printers. Dexterity comes into place. People have bad handwriting, scanning, etc. So what we've done is we've allowed offices to truly get that digital input right away and efficiently, either by a website, mobile, or in office using an iPad. So kind of overall, to kind of kickstart, that's what Enlive's all about, really focusing on paperless forms for dental practice.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that. And I should have told everybody. Yeah. Tina, I was going to say, I should have told everybody. I mean, combined, the two of you, I mean, we're looking at the likes of 47 years of experience. I know, like you've mentioned, you've been a consultant for many, many years. So, on the heels of what Adrian mentioned, love to hear your insight just on kind of what this has meant for a lot of the practices that you work with.
Oh, yeah. Yes, John, absolutely. Yes, I've been in dentistry over 32 years and dental consulting almost 10. I partnered up with Enlive about 7 to 8 years ago, simply because I saw, I got a glimpse of Enlive in one of my practices about almost 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago. And it was amazing. So I called them and started asking a lot of questions about the program, about its features. And over time, we just developed this amazing relationship. And we've been enhancing Enlive together to make it more efficient for practices. So the goal really is get the patient the paperwork in the shortest way possible. And they can use their phone, they can use their computer, they can use an iPad, they can use whatever. They enter the information, send it back to the office. It comes into a portal. You click one button and it uploads directly into your software. It'll put in all the data: name, address, phone numbers, email, your driver's license copy, your insurance copy. It was amazing. So for me as a consultant, one of the main things that I try to strive is efficiency in these practices, right? And all you ADOM members and all you ladies at the desk, my hat is off to you 110%. I've done it for years. So data entry can be so time consuming, getting all this information, scanning it. This is just so efficient. This takes you from that and gives you time to actually call your patients, call your unscheduled treatment, fill your schedule, do things that are more important as opposed to data entry and scanning papers. So this has it's been a game changer in the dental field, and especially now, more than ever with COVID for sure. But my practices that I consult throughout Central Florida, and I have some outside of Florida as well, this has just been a big game changer for them. So I was happy to partner up with them 8 years ago. We just constantly been enhancing the program. It's been amazing.
I love it. So there's two things that I took away from the both of you. And the first is what Adrian said, which is paperwork, old school. Totally agree. Love moving that direction. And Tina, you said one thing, the good old one button, right? Like in an effort of kind of making things efficient, both for the practice and the one click. All right, so let's jump in here. So I know a lot of times when people move a lot of their forms online, they like things to be customized, right? So that's kind of the first question, Adrian, I'll go with you is, can you customize forms? For example, consent forms, now that we live in this COVID world. I mean, talk a little bit about the customization features that you guys have.
Yes, absolutely, John. You're at 100% correct. What we can do is that sets us apart is we can customize any office and any of their forms. General practice, pediatric offices, specialty practices, they all have a different type of form. They've spent a lot of money, time, and effort to either get an awesome logo, to really tailor to their patients, depending on where they are, demographic wise. So you want to get that form digitally. Now, printing it and then photocopying it over and over, you start diminishing the looks of that form. So then that really puts front forth, not a good experience for the patient. So now if you can get that digitally and place it on your website or send it to a patient's phone, they're going to get that same experience and even enhance. And they're going to be like, wow, this is great. Like, this is awesome for my dental practice. They're enhancing their product. It's a lot easier. And especially like Tina said earlier, nowadays, especially with COVID, we're ordering food online, we're buying clothes online. Why not have a simple document that just makes it for the patient, makes it easy? So yes, we can make those forms very digital, and more importantly, not only capturing data, but also capturing a live signature. So no one has to then sign it again when they get to a practice. It literally will go into a practice management software when the patient completes the form. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
So Tina, you were talking a little bit about this, and that is, I don't know about you guys, but lately, whenever I feel like I need to find a pen, I just can't find it. And I don't know if that's just because I'm doing more stuff electronically, but I could never find the pen. So
one of the two.
Or it doesn't work.
Or it doesn't work, right? Yeah.
Right.
So because you don't use them anymore, right? And so the pen dries up. We don't have that like the feather on them anymore. Like we're kind of past those days. But most importantly, when patients are at home, can they do a lot of their forms and electronically all that stuff right at home?
Yeah, what's amazing, John, is they can actually use their phone, which everybody uses. We use our phone for everything now. So they can click the link will come right to them. They can click it right on their phone. They can we've made it iPhone or phone friendly as well. So they can use their phone, they can use their personal computer, or they can even use their personal iPad any way that they want to. They can also, just so you know, this link can be attached to your website for practices, and your patient can go directly to your website, click the link. Or with nLive, we have the opportunity to email or text that patient that information directly. So it can be done either way, which is also per office, depending on how the office likes to do things, depends on the best way. So it's, customizable for the practice. And one thing real quick I wanted to touch on as far as digitizing the forms that Adrian had mentioned, we actually can digitize all forms in your practice, including like your lab scripts or your referral slips. So if you're referring a patient all the time for oral surgery, for wisdom teeth, whatnot, those can all be customizable and sent directly as well. So I just wanted to throw that in there too. Just so many amazing features. We could talk for hours on it, but I know we're on a short little time frame. So you got to shut me down because I get it.
But
I got a lot of excitement for forms. Yeah, go ahead, Adrian. Yeah.
And I'd love to add one more thing about that. John, to your point, let's say the patient does come into the office and the front team is busy or they're overwhelmed because they're short staffed. Finding that pen, trying to sanitize it, clean it down, it's not going to happen. I forgot to mention this earlier, so I apologize to everyone. But now, guys, we also have the QR reader. So a patient could actually come in if they're comfortable enough. They could have their own phone. They can scan that QR code, and the form will automatically pop up on their phone. Similar to a restaurant. Literally, I was out last night at a restaurant. Everyone has menus now on the table. They're not even handing out restaurant menus. Same thing. So that's another game changer. Again, everyone's going to appreciate it. And it's one more thing that really would just put everyone in a safer situation, really, and more efficient. So.
Yeah, and kind of back at you, Adrian. You mentioned a little while ago about the practice management software system. And the question that I had for you is, when this data comes in, can it automatically, can the data from that patient go right into that record, into their record?
You know what, it does at a click of a button. So we do eliminate double entry, scanning, anything like that. So there is a list of different multiple practice management softwares that we have, and it's on our website. So at gonlive.com, we'll share that after. But the big names, Dentrix, Eaglesoft, Open Dental. So all that data will write back into the family file, and the health history section will also update. Medical alerts will update. and then any document that's signed will go into the document center or SmartDoc, however everyone has a little bit of different name. But yes, all that information does sync back directly.
Perfect. And then Tina, one of the things I've loved about these featured company live casts is that the both of you guys are working with practices on a daily basis utilizing these services. Could you take just a minute or so to talk about some actual success stories, right? I mean, as you guys know, sometimes practices, there's a lot of new technologies out there, and making that decision to kind of implement them, especially, you know, it sounds like you guys have found a way to kind of connect all the stuff, which is awesome, like into the PMS and all that. But from your experience as a consultant, Tina, I'd love to hear you just share what it's like for a practice when they implement this and they really start to realize the time saving, how much better it is for the patient. They make it easy. I'd love to have you share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, one thing that I learned through NLive is, and years ago, I go back to when we had an appointment book and an eraser, the big fat eraser. Like, I mean, I'm going to date myself, but I go back that far. So I have a lot of practices that haven't even gone paperless yet, which is kind of crazy in today's world. But one of the things, another feature is going paperless is so difficult, transferring your patients from paper charts into the computer, because a lot of times you have to data entry all that info. Here's, I mean, if you still have a dinosaur practice in paper, which I'm not even going to beat you up because I get it, you know, that's nobody wants to change, right? So, but listen, let me tell you, if you have even, I have a lot of practices that part of them were paper and part of them were computer. So they were like doing half and half for a while. This is amazing because you can just send your patients this form, the forms, they come back and you just push the button and it will put all the data in. So we don't have to sit there and manually enter all those patients in, you know, continuously. So that's a big game changer for practices. If they're trying to take their patients paperless altogether and their charts go paperless, it's amazing. I wish it was around years ago when I was doing it, because we were manually entering them in practices. So that's a huge, huge efficient thing that has been beneficial for practices that I know. And then also, John, I'm going to tell you, and I mean, I touched on this before, just the fact that you can click a button and all your information goes in for the patient, even their medical history alerts, you know, all this stuff will populate directly into the software, and then it stores all these forms individually into the doc center. I mean, unless you've been in a practice, and ladies and gentlemen and that are watching from ADOM, I know you know what I'm talking about, because it is so time consuming. But and when you click that button and everything goes in there for you, it's just a game changer. I mean, I just can't say it enough. But I will tell you that there's a lot of features we have added and enhancements to try to make things as smooth and seamless as possible. And I know for myself, starting back with NLive 8 to 10 years ago and where it is now, we've enhanced it so much to make it as seamless as possible for efficiency. So really, and you know, something else too is it's a way your patients see your practice, and it's so efficient and put together. I've had patients when I'm in practices compliment the office by saying, that was amazing. What a smooth transition. In fact, even the COVID form, you know, we got the COVID form. We were able to fill it out prior to getting here. You know, it's a time saver for practices, and the patients are impressed. They're really impressed with how easy it was. We kind of made it dummy proof, if you will. That's the best way to say it, because we always have patients that have a hard time completing things correctly. So we've made it and enhanced it to be as easy as possible for patients.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's a great segue, Adrian, into the treatment plans, right? That I want to have you kind of touch on a little bit, because number one, and Tina, I'm glad you mentioned it, I do think there's an expectation now for patients in this technology world that we live in. They expect a dental practice to operate like Amazon, right? Like I can go on Amazon and I can buy things fast. So please tell me that you've made investments in your technology so that you can do that. But on the treatment planning side, Adrian, I'd love to have you touch on that, because because of people like Tina out there who have been consulting and really helping practices get better at their treatment plan presentations, to explaining dentistry in a much simpler way. Can you touch on how you guys are connected with the treatment plan part, consent forms, things like that?
Absolutely, John. So everyone at ADOM, I was able to meet some of them last year. So, I'm glad that I'm on here. In regards to treatment plans, when a patient's chairside, last thing you want to do is you're talking to a patient, you're going to, We're going to talk about an extraction. You're going to talk about the sensitivity of the cost of making that. And it's a decision. It's a hard decision for sometimes for some patients that are out there. So, what do you in the past? Let me go print this. Let me walk away. Let me come back. Let's sign this. Are you sure it's an estimate? Let me scan this in. So you want a paper trail. You want an audit trail. All that kind of goes away with our software, regardless of what system you're using, or for the most part, the ones that we do integrate with. You can print a treatment plan right on an iPad. So patient's chairside, you present that treatment plan to the patient. Now you have your treatment coordinator, reviewing it on their computer. The patient's looking at it on their iPad. They can zoom in. They can go over those treatment plans. You can do multiple ones. It's not, you could do one at a time. You could add clinical notes right on the iPad. So, that patient needs to do a payment plan, or you're going to do some promotional, give them a discount, or any other, technical or clinical notes. You can do that. You can capture live signatures. So not only can you just go digital, but you can actually get those signatures from everyone, up to 4. So patient, doctors, treatment coordinators. You can then email that copy to the patient right from our system. So again, where the point is, you want to reduce paperwork. It saves a lot of money for everyone, saves time and money and headache. And then, that really helps out. And then at the end, that document does go back into the document center. So for audit trail purposes, you'll have a copy of that signed document. You can present 3-4 treatment plans to a patient. It does not matter. There's no limit. And again, it's just clean and efficient. And patients and treatment coordinators, I think they really love it the best from our current clients today that use that software.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the timing of all of that. And I think, as we kind of close out here, Tina, I'd love to get your perspective on the whole treatment plan piece of this, right? As a consultant, you know so well that that's one of the biggest struggles in many cases for a practice, is that kind of end of the, patient is back with the clinical team. It's presented to them what they need to get done. And then they come to the front and there's, how do we manage this efficiently so that the patient doesn't feel like they get this laundry list of all these things that they have to do. It's quick and easy and more importantly, seamless.
Yes. What's great about it is you actually the treatment plan can be sent from the back. A message can be sent to the front, which a lot of my practices, they all do it different. Some treatment plans are presented in the back with the clinical team, and some are presented at the front. And again, it's case by case depending on how your practice does it. But the best features with NLive with the treatment plan is and Adrian kicked on, you don't have to leave the room. You don't have to leave your patient. This whole time you're educating your patient about their treatment plan. What is, that's the main thing. And I'll kick on treatment planning just a little bit. I'll give you guys a little extra feedback. Treatment planning is all about educating your patient, honestly. If you educate your patient properly, then the bottom line is just reviewing the fees, signing it, and moving forward with proceeding to schedule. So what I love about it is we can continue to educate our patient. We're not focused on papers. So we're literally taking the time to educate our patient, talk to them about what they need and why they need it, go over everything with them. And then it's right there on the iPad. We can simply just turn the iPad around and say, hey, John, now that we've covered everything, do you have any other questions about the treatment itself? No? Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and just review that with you. These are actually the fees. This is your estimated insurance, your estimated portion. We've broken it down for you case by, visit by visit. Go ahead and just sign here at the bottom after you review it. And then we'll just go ahead and click this button right here. We'll email you a copy of this directly to your email. And then we'll save a copy as well. And then let's go ahead and just turn right around here and we'll go ahead and get you scheduled with Dr. John and set up your appointment. Like, boom. It's just that simple. We never left. We never touch paper. We never touch pen. Yeah. And in fact, the iPads, they go into a protective sleeve. So we can wipe that with a Cabicide wipe so that it doesn't damage the iPad. And we have the link for that as well. And I think, Adrian, we put that link on our website. If we haven't, we're going to make sure that we do after today, because I feel like a lot of practices have been using those sleeves for the iPads. But overall, it's honestly a seamless process when you're delivering a treatment plan or any consent form or anything for that matter. We never have to leave the patient or the room to handle that. It's all right there for us.
Correct.
Yeah, perfect. So Adrian, as we look to close out, I know that the ADOM team has put links in the thread as far as where people can learn more about what you guys are doing. But any last items that you want to share as far as getting in touch with you guys, demos, I mean, anything like that of how the audience can learn more about and take advantage of what you guys do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so for all our ADOM friends and recommendations and other colleagues that you guys might have, we will be doing a discount. We're going to do a $50 discount off the setup fee. So you can book a demo at your leisure, gonlive.com on the link. Click on their ADOM Live, Facebook Live cast. You could also just get a hold of us, call me directly. I'm head of sales, so I can then educate that person or that team. We can book a demo together. But yeah, more importantly, I want to answer any questions. I want to make sure that everyone, moves up to the next level and really educate them. More importantly, and help people out. Go paperless. That's really the end goal here for everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting, guys. It's kind of like in so many of these conversations I've been having with people, a lot of the different technologies that people are using and implementing does help them with the pandemic that we're dealing with. But I'm sure you guys can support this, that this is work that you were doing before this pandemic even happened, right? So there's an element of so many of these efficiencies. Yes, they help on the, like you mentioned, Tina, having the iPad in the sleeve and people not having to touch a lot of things for cleanliness and stuff. But there's so much more than that, right? I mean, there's just so many more efficiencies that have come about a lot of these newer technologies. And once this pandemic clears, and it will, we're staying positive, right? We're going to stay positive. I think practices, I'm excited because I think practices, when they implement things like this, are going to realize so many, the features and benefits they're going to have for themselves and their patients as well. So.
Absolutely agreed. And I just want to say, if you haven't had a demo with NLive, please take the time to go to gonlive.com just to do the demo. It doesn't cost anything. It's literally a 15 to 30 minute demo. And you can't really appreciate all the features until you see the demo, honestly. As a practice consultant, as multiple practices that I have that use it, it's worth the demo to see if how it can affect your practice.
Awesome. Well, Tina and Adrian, thank you so much. I love your guys' passion, love your energy.
Thank you.
You're certainly out there to help, and I know the ADOM Nation will appreciate the both of you guys, absolutely, and what you guys are doing. So again, everybody be sure, learn more about NLive. All the information is right there in the comments thread, and hopefully we will see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thank you, John. We appreciate it.